So I was just sitting around the other day and I was thinking, you know what, I'm bored, I don't really play that many video games anymore, and I say that in terms of multiplayer games against other players. I play a ton of storyline games. Lately I've gone through the whole Assassin's Creed series again just because, well, the Ezio collection is on the new PlayStation Plus. I never played AC Rogue, so I got the chance to play that for the first time, finally, which it is good, but after playing Black Flag and AC3, because they share similar worlds, the setting to me wasn't as good, but the story's still interesting, especially for a spin-off game. There are a ton of games that I'm looking forward to playing. Hogwarts Legacy, that looks so good. If you say it doesn't, you're lying. The new God of War, we've got Spider-Man, Wolverine, which are quite a while away yet. A couple of games that I had recently, Saints Row is absolutely awful. I think I've played like a couple of hours of that game so far and I just can't put the disc back into my PlayStation and carry on, just because what I've experienced so far isn't engaging. So I do play a lot of story games, but nowadays they are a bit too far between. We don't get one that often that I'm super interested in. We maybe get a couple of good games every year, 2 or 3, campaign-wise. And because I don't play online, the last time I played online Call of Duty was Modern Warfare 2019. Before that was probably Modern Warfare 3 and then BO2. I will be honest, the only game that I religiously play online against other people is Rocket League. I absolutely love that game, although I've been stuck in Diamond rank for God knows how long now. I've been stuck in this same routine for quite a while now, playing the same games or not playing anything and just waiting. So I thought to myself, I fancy going back to play some Halo, and I mean old school Halo. I haven't played the new ones, I kind of phased out of it, but back in the older days, Xbox 360, I played quite a lot, but I remembered, well, I can't, because it was back at the beginning of this year where classic Halo servers were shut down, meaning matchmaking on those games isn't possible anymore. Those experiences, those fun times that I had when I was a teenager playing these games, similar to the Modern Warfare 2 days. Halo for me was very similar, Halo 3, Halo 4. Well, you can't play these games online anymore. They're a relic. It was back in December of 2021 where the servers for these games were shut down. Halo Reach, Halo 4, Halo 3, Halo ODST, those were the days, but Halo 3, for example, came out in 2007, which, me thinking about that now, was a long time ago, but if you think about what other games came out that year, the first one that comes to my mind is COD 4, but we also had BioShock, Assassin's Creed, the original, or the first one, Portal, Team Fortress 2 came out that year. Quite a few gems in terms of video game history, but it's quite sad that we can't experience the multiplayer side of these games, in this case Halo, but we go to other companies, Ubisoft for example. They announced at the beginning of September for this year, they would also be deactivating a bunch of online services for older games. Their games that you would no longer be able to play online were Assassin's Creed 2, AC3, the 2012 version, AC Brotherhood, Revelations, Far Cry 3, Zombie U, I don't know who's playing that one. But I can remember being a big fan of the Assassin's Creed series, playing multiplayer of those games, which I don't actually think is a feature anymore. It used to be. Maybe it still is and I just don't pay attention. But I did play a little bit of the multiplayer portion of Revelations and Brotherhood. They weren't amazing, but it was something to do. Granted, with these games, I'm probably, or was probably never going to go back and play the multiplayer side anyway. But even if I was, well, we can't, because those servers have now been shut down. And this is kind of an inevitable thing with older games. There are multiple reasons why older video game servers get shut down, and I say that because this has also happened to more recent games as well, ones that only came out 3 or 4 years ago, whether it be down to lack of funding, the actual company getting shut down, or just lack of a player base. I have seen games that came out not too long ago that have had their servers shut down, so people can't play the online side anymore. But it just got me thinking, well, when is this going to happen to Call of Duty? Surely it's inevitable. It will happen, it's just the question of when. Last year, Call of Duty Online got shut down. If you don't know what that is, basically it was China's version of COD. I'm not sure why they got their own free version, but they did, and now it's gone. But according to this article, as a result of falling revenue and no longer being able to renew its contract with Activision, Tencent withdrew, so the game was shut down. Video game servers usually get closed down for one of those 3 reasons, which got me thinking, well, the older Call of Duties, COD 4, World at War, Black Ops 1 even, Modern Warfare 2, but those first 2 games, especially COD 4 and World at War 2007 and 2008, so those release dates were, those are quite old now considering the amount of Call of Duty games we have had. And looking at the player base, this is for the PC side, there are about 400 players per day on World at War. Its all-time peak on PC was 4,725. That data, however, was only recorded since 2012. We know the game came out in 2008, so the player base would have been a lot higher than that, but since 2012 it's only had no more than 5,000 people playing. Right now it has an average player base of between 4 to 500, which, well, isn't a lot, not really, and if you go on to play World at War yourself on console or PC, I don't know what the player base is on console, but I don't imagine it will be too much bigger. You will struggle to find games, it will take you 10 minutes to load into a lobby, but if we know the reason why servers get shut down, when will it happen to games like World at War? Is 500 players a day enough? Surely, or in fact, I'm 100% certain Activision won't be earning any revenue from these games anymore. They didn't have microtransactions, not many people will be purchasing it new. The only revenue streams I can think of is if people do buy directly from the PlayStation Store or the Xbox Store, but you can get these games for free now, and you can get them for a couple of dollars from eBay. Because there are no bundles, microtransactions, does the revenue that Activision still get from these games outweigh the cost for them to keep the servers up and running? Not only that, but these games use server space that Activision could dedicate towards their new content. That is earning them revenue. There are loads of people that can explain this a lot better than I can. Just taking a look at a couple of Reddit posts as to why servers get shut down, someone said, whilst server cost is a consideration, the biggest reason to Twilight game servers is most likely revenue recognition. Under the rather arcane rules of Sarbanes-Oxley, game companies have all sorts of reasons and contingent liabilities. That means profit cannot be recognised on paper if the company still has to provide some sort of service. Keeping a server running is a key service. Closing down a server means you can suddenly recognise all revenue for a game that was perhaps sold and paid for several years prior. In fact, I have seen servers twilighted despite the game still being played, not because it was costly to run those servers, but because keeping it running may impact the ability to recognise revenue across all games. That's one reason. Someone else said servers aren't free to run. Rent, hardware, staff and general maintenance are all a drain on a profit. The reason companies have servers and online multiplayer at all is to entice players to spend money by purchasing the game and or in-game content. So as long as the profit from this exceeds the cost of running the servers, it makes financial sense to keep the server running. As games grow older, both types of sales naturally dry up. Also, there is a limited capacity. If you have to decide between a new popular game or a decade-old title only a few hundred people are still playing, you're going to stop supporting the older game. At this point, maintaining this service is costing the company more than it makes. Since the goal of a company is to make profit, it's time to say goodbye. Keeping this service going for public relations and such is also pointless, since in most cases it would just be maintaining the status quo for a few hundred/thousand players at most. And then someone else said servers get shut down to free things up. Old games take up space in a server to run, freeing it up allows space for newer games. Also, it takes manpower. It means that if you shut down a server, staff don't need to do updates, which I don't think in terms of Call of Duty anyway, World at War, COD 4, we are getting updates for those games anymore. Obviously, Activision haven't done this yet, but it did get me thinking. We've seen that Xbox have recently shut down the Halo servers, and we know that Xbox are planning to take over Activision, so when Xbox finally does own this company, just like they did with Halo, is there a chance that they shut down the servers for older CODs, ones that only have a couple of hundred, maybe 1,000 or 2,000 players, like World at War, that doesn't really generate them revenue anymore? Just in my personal opinion, I can't see that much of a difference in terms of how they run and the player base between Halo 3 and World at War or COD 4. So is there a chance that when Xbox acquires Activision, servers for older CODs get closed? I think it's possible. The only thing I will say is it will happen one day. It's inevitable. It may be 1 year from now, 2 years, 5 years. I don't think we're reaching 10. And when that day does come, it will be sad, but it's all a part of the video game cycle. So yeah, I just thought it'd be an interesting topic to discuss. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, hopefully you've enjoyed the video today. If you have, drop a like rating. Make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest content on the channel. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, goodbye.